Bro, Bo was thinking more Halloween. He was like, hey, what Halloween costume you're wearing? We roll up in here. We're like, you want to hear about my past trauma? Oh my gosh.
Well, welcome back to Bono's Gaming. This is the Bono's Gamers Podcast, episode 5. I can't believe I'm already on episode 5 here, and you guys are back. It's Yugi601 and Falcon Tactics. How's it going, guys?
Hey.
All right, we're going to be talking about a few different things tonight, including the newly released Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Spider-Man 2 on the PS5, along with a couple of other things, a couple other topics. But I wanted to start tonight, because of these game releases, I have done a couple of polls on my channel on the community page, and I wanted to see if you guys could guess who the winners of these polls were. Is that cool? No cheating.
Okay.
You can't look it up.
Like, too bad. I already had the imagine.
The first question was just, which game are you going to pick up this weekend? Spider-Man 2, Mario, both, or neither? You want to care to guess who which one won out of those two games?
This weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's gotta be Spider-Man. There's no way.
You think so?
I'm gonna say Wonder. I'm gonna say Wonder.
Dude, I'm saying, okay, literally us being on, like, we both didn't play the opposite game that we're saying right now.
I know, but the only reason why I'm saying it is because he talked more about Mario, so I'm gonna assume more people like Mario.
Well,
all right.
See, the thing is, I haven't been checking any of the community posts, so I didn't even know he was doing any votes.
I did.
Oh,
I
yeah,
did.
no, but
Dude.
yeah, he talked about the movie, Nintendo Direct. Dude, if Spider-Man won, you gotta question your audience, bro.
Bro,
Well, okay, so which game are you picking up this weekend? Here's what it is. Spider-Man 2 won by, it was 21% to 18%.
ooh.
So it was pretty close, and it was neck and neck like the whole time as the votes were coming in. So it was pretty close. And 15% actually voted both, and then a whopping 46% said neither. Sad emoji face. So
Probably because it was too expensive.
Probably.
No,
What
okay,
do you
listen. I had a couple people come into my chat saying why they didn't get either of the games because they were really expensive. They were like, bro, I don't have $70 laying around to go buy it.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
understand.
totally fair. My second poll was, which red and blue clad superhero would win in a fight? Spider-Man, Super Mario, or neither? They'd team up to save New York. Care to guess
Oh my god.
on that one?
Honestly, I like the last option the most.
So did
Yeah, that was the one I
71% of my audience.
Yes.
71% said neither. They'd team up to save New York. I was really hoping that one would win,
Bro.
and it did. Between the two of them, though, do you want to guess which one they thought would win in a fight for those who voted that way?
Mario.
I would hope they said Spider-Man, and I'm only hoping that is because the dork in me will scream if Mario wins.
It actually tied at 15%. 15%
What?
Mario,
No
15%
way,
Spider-Man.
No way. Nah, bro. Dude, there's
I don't know.
no.
Dude,
think it's time for a
Mario
death battle.
Mario has a lot of different power-ups.
Oh, no,
Spider-Man
no.
has
I
a
am-
set. It
I'm
could
fully
go
on
either
the team
way.
of Mario. I'm fully on the team of Mario here. Okay, listen. Mario's got a lot of resources here. I'm just saying,
He does. He
You're really
does.
gonna
he does.
disrespect Peter Parker in front of me.
bro. Hey, listen. Hey, Peter Parker's awesome and all that. Okay,
I
but
can't.
I'm
I don't know. I could see it going either way. Be an interesting battle for sure.
Oh yeah.
dude, I'd watch it, bro.
I would too. I would totally watch that movie. I think Yugi commented on. You voted on it, didn't you? You said,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And you commented on it about how Mario would just show him where the best pizza is or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
If it was the movie
Seriously,
Mario.
Are you seriously dissing my? Oh yeah, okay, the movie Mario. There's a difference. There's a difference.
There is a difference. That's my point.
Okay, which Mario are we talking about here, Bo?
Yeah, the movie. Well, I said the movie one because he's an Italian guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said he would probably just buy him a pet turtle. But
Okay, whatever.
but I thought those were interesting results for those polls, so I wanted to bring that up. And then I want to, I guess, move on to the first question of tonight. Our first topic for tonight: the Super Mario Bros. Wonder game. I want to talk about this. Falcon, you bought this game, correct?
Yes,
I would like
sir.
to get your impressions and what you liked and didn't like about
Well, I
the
just want to give you a rating, like my rating for this game. I've gotten to World 3 so far. Okay.
game. Okay.
That's just for anyone who's wondering. Anyways,
It's gonna happen a lot.
Dude, it's gonna happen so much.
I'm
Anyways,
also on World 3, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I've been playing it like so much, and I'm just like, dang, game feels so big. Anyways, here we go. Here, let me just
Oh my goodness.
just listen up. Just listen up, okay?
No.
Okay.
Look,
What is he gonna say?
Halloween is next week, guys.
It's a
Back
game.
to-
The game is a 9 out of 10.
A 9 out of 10.
Now then, most games will not get a 10 out of 10 for me ever. Okay, I'm just saying that right now. Okay, I always believe there's room for improvement. Okay, and I can almost always find something about a game that's just like, I'm like, dude, we were just talking about those critics. I'm like one of those critics. Like, I'll play a game and I'll try and look for something that's bad about it so I can point it out. Like, I don't know why I've like.
So what did you find that was disappointing about the game?
Well, first I want to say the things that I liked about the game. Okay, so I mean, if I'm going into that, the game intro was already, they got right into it. Okay,
they did.
Like, I like that the cutscene was only like, it was less than a minute. Like, and then they had dialogue, so if anybody wanted to, they could just skip all of it and then go straight to it and have even less time. But like the dork I am, I read all the dialogue in voices and all that kind of stuff, bro. It was fun. Anyways, yeah, dude, it got into gameplay so fast, and the game reminded me so much of Super Mario Wii. Out of the 2D Mario games that I played, you know, I remember they had Super Mario Wii U, and I didn't play that one, but I saw it, bro, and it just didn't give me the same feel. Okay,
yeah,
I saw this game and I played this game now, and like this game right here, it just feels so nostalgic, and I don't even know how to explain that. It's like, it's new, but at the same time it feels old. Anyways, well,
yeah, it definitely feels familiar, I think, but it's but it's also got, man, it's so many new things in this game that they've never done before that are really, really good, and I hope that they can stick around.
Yeah, my favorite thing, bro, like so far was all of the new suits, bro, because I know inside of some of the games they bring in, like, you know, they're like, oh yeah, let's bring in like 2 new suits. This game, they're like, all right, come on, it's time. All right, we're bringing you a bubble suit, we're bringing back the drill suit from Mario Galaxy 2, okay, and we're gonna come up in here and hand you guys an elephant. Take it. Oh wait, there's one more. What's the other one? Oh wait, I wanted to say fire suit because they had this whole new animation when you collect it, but it's just not new. Anyways, it looks good though.
Yeah,
but dude, and then on top of that, they're like, okay, instead of suits, let's add badges, and you actually need them to complete the game. I thought it was just gonna be like an easier thing. Like, I thought the badges, bro, they're just gonna be like, oh, let's help out those players who aren't as good. Sorry.
No.
Like, you need them in order to beat the game. You need to go get the badges to complete certain levels or find certain secrets inside of the level.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
So, and there's so many of them too. And I've only unlocked, I don't know.
I mean, if you're on World 3 and we play games in a very similar manner, I think we probably have around the same amount. So
yeah, how many do you have? It's like, I have like maybe 7 or 8 of them.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, around 8 or 9. I think. I haven't gotten into any of the other worlds yet.
So Yugi, the badge system, you get to pick a badge that, like, I don't know, it's just called a badge. You don't see it on your person, but it gives you a special ability, but you have to choose just one of them, and you get to pick whichever one you want, but it gives you one specific ability that's aside from your power up. Like, in addition to your power up, you have this one extra ability that helps you through the level. They've come up like with some really, really good stuff to help you out. I mean, I don't know, it's just really, it's so inventive, it's so fresh in that way. Since I'm talking about this already, I wanted to say that I read today actually that Nintendo did not give the developers a deadline on this game. What? They just asked them to create, and I love that so much. Like, that takes so much pressure off to not have that deadline, and you just, like, you know, just anything goes. Just create, you know.
I'm not gonna lie, that gave me goosebumps, because I
for real,
I'm like, yo, like, okay, when I say Nintendo knew what they were doing with this game, they knew what they were doing with this game.
Yeah,
okay,
they did.
They wanted this Mario game to be better than all the other Mario games.
Yeah, it's really good.
It is. It actually brings me to what I was gonna say. I told you guys I was trying to look for things that I could, like, rag on about the game, right? I'm like, bro, we have all these wonder flowers, we have all of these. Like, I think the only thing that we could rag on about the game that me and my chat found was, like, we're like, bro, is this game on drugs or something? Like, like, that was the only thing we could go on to, because, like, the wonder flowers would just make crazy things happen that are just like,
it's so good though, because you can play through the level and not do that, and it's almost like you get a whole different second level when you do the wonder flower stuff.
Dude, some of the levels actually you have to beat the level in both ways. So you can actually get all the collectibles.
Right. It's the replayability on this game is astronomical. It's so good. Like, you can just play it over and over again, I feel like.
Yeah, it sounds like good content too. Like,
dude, it's amazing.
You know,
it's really
like, I beat this level using the hardest badge.
Dude, yeah, they actually
are using no badge.
Yeah, right. Using no badge. Yeah.
Right.
Dude, it's kind of crazy, man. And dude, the speedruns are gonna be crazy for this game.
Yeah.
I can already see it. Bro.
Are there
Chat was
badges that are
definitely
like negative, like
Uh,
skulls from Halo?
Not that I've seen yet, but
yeah, I don't think there's any negative ones, but there are ones that would make things a little bit difficult. I think one of the badges that I got was like a dashing badge, so you cannot stop dashing, which would help for some levels. But I
Really?
think for other levels,
That's funny.
okay. Wait, you haven't gotten it yet?
no, I haven't gotten that one.
Okay,
I love
okay.
that. That's amazing.
I'm surprised that we're close to the same amount of badges, and you don't have that. Now I
must
want
be
to know
like-
what badges you
That
have.
must be the one that I don't have that you have,
But,
because
yeah, probably, because I think I might have one more than you. But yeah, there's a dashing badge that I found in Fluff Puff Peaks.
Okay,
and Peaks, and it's good for like the races and all that. Anyways, oh my gosh, dude, I'm getting off track. I'm sorry. The game is just so good. Okay, it's good. If you can get it, get it. Okay. I think the only negative thing I found about it was like, it was just like part of the content, like though they didn't mean it to be, and they very, very strayed away from it. My chat could not stop talking about the fact they're like, Mario is on shrooms. Like he actually had the shrooms this time around. I'm like, I was like, kind of just gonna delete comment and we're gonna continue through because I'm like, I'm trying to keep it family friendly, like on my streams.
Yeah.
And it's like that. I think that was really the only thing I could find. Like that's
so
saying a lot because.
So see, I didn't think of it that way. I just thought, man, they had time to create, and so they just created these crazy zany, like it is like really kind of trippy, but not in a bad way. Just like it's like still really fun and really creative, and I love it. Like it's just whether you do the Wonder Flowers or not, like it's just so good, and I've really been enjoying it. I played it a little bit with my kids and my wife, and we all had a really fun time with it. We're gonna play it some more as a family. A couple of things that I noticed that I didn't like was one, no matter how well timed your jumps are, you jump the same height. Like there's no triple jump. And I think previous ones there was some kind of triple jump.
Yeah,
wasn't there
Yeah, there was. And Mario Wii was like, you jump 3 times in like on the perfect time, and you would get a jump. And I was thinking about I thought about that too. That's not in the game.
That's not in the game, and I don't know why. Like I really like the triple jump. So
I agree with you, but I don't think it's a problem.
It's not a problem.
I'm like they have badges now that give you that additional jump, and so I think they were thinking about the fact they were like, okay,
it might have been
how it would be good to add, but I mean, like it doesn't really seem like a necessity, is what.
Well, they might have nerfed Mario a little bit just to make you use the badges. I don't know.
Yeah.
The other thing I noticed that was different from the last couple of entries in the 2D stuff is that you can't touch the other players in the co-op. Like you can't pick them up anymore, or bounce off of their heads or anything like that. Like you used to be able to jump off each other's head and stuff, and you can't do that. Like you just run behind them or whatever now, and so that's very different. And on the one hand, it keeps accidental deaths from happening a lot, but on the other hand, it makes you not be able to help each other out. Because I used to like pick up my kids and run them through the level if they couldn't do it. I just I just carry them through the level.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, now you have to play as Yoshi.
Oh yeah.
You carry them on your back.
Right. Yeah, they do have that where you can play as Yoshi and you don't take damage, but you can carry people. But I don't want to play as Yoshi.
Exactly, dude. Oh my gosh, one of the people like I made an effort because I was like at the beginning of the stream I was like, okay, if I make videos out of this, I want to be able to play as all the characters, and I have all the characters inside the video, characters alternate or whatever. I had a good idea. I was like, yes, this will be good. And like then I got down to the Yoshis and Nabbit, and I was like, dude, I cannot in good conscience play as these characters.
Right. Yeah.
And like I'm like, I want to, for some reason I feel like it takes away my credibility to say I'm a real gamer over here. I'm like, bro, I don't want to play as an invincible character.
Yeah.
No.
Well, yeah, I just enjoy playing as Mario, and it's just he has such a special place in my heart. I don't want to play as any of the other characters, but that's fine if other people do and enjoy it. I love that they have several, like that's the most characters they've ever had available to play as. Yeah. And I think that's really awesome. So yeah,
there was one more thing that I noticed. It was the lives. I haven't gotten a game over in this game yet, and I'm already on World 3. And I'm not saying that the game is easy. The game is hard.
Right.
But like the fact that I am over here sitting at 67 lives.
Right.
I'm like, and I haven't done anything to try and get 67 lives.
See, yeah, I haven't really either. I think I have 50 something, but my kids lost several marvel of mine.
Oh yeah, when I played
because it's collective.
Yeah, when I played multiplayer, I did end up losing like 20 lives, but
Yeah.
I got him back so fast it didn't even matter.
Right. And you're right about it being hard. Even World 1, like I was like, I'm dying in World 1. What's going on here? I'm a Mario veteran. I shouldn't be dying in World 1, but I was. I died several times in World 1.
My chat quoted me when we played the game. Like, once we figured out about the difficulty ratings on the stage, it's like, bro, it's Mario. Like, what? I'm like, anyways.
I love that, though.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
So each level, Yugi, has a star rating for how difficult it is. And so it just lets you know, like, this one's pretty easy or this one's super hard. So before you even go into it, you kind of know what to expect. And I
build
think
some
it's really
anticipation, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when I said there was no lives, I was thinking about the timer. There's no timer
there's
anymore,
no timer.
Which is cool because you used to have to, like, you'd have like 300 seconds or whatever to get through the level. But now you can literally just stay in it as long as you want and explore and look for it because there's so many hidden things and some of them are hard to find. And so you can just stay and explore and like look for them for as long as you need. And I think that's really cool.
I have a confession to make. Okay. World 1, level 2, the one with the singing piranha plants. Great level.
I love that level. That level was amazing.
That level was a great introduction to the game. I'm so glad they didn't show anything on the second level of the game inside of their trailer because that right there just made me love the game even more. I was like, bro, they have so much to show that they haven't even showed yet. Anyways,
you gotta tell Yugi about it. The whole level is set to the beat of the music in the background, and the plants are singing like the song in the background. The background music as you're going through.
It's the name of the song on the bottom right, like as the
it's so good.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, when you collect the Wonder Flower, I'm sure you already know this, Yugi, but like crazy things start happening. One could even call it a wondrous situation. I'm sorry, I reached really far for that one. Anyways, the thing that happened inside of this stage is piranha plants start coming out of the pipes, okay, and then they start singing. My whole chat and me were just like, like that the whole time, like
because you don't see them that way.
Like you can go back to my stream.
You don't see them as
watch all
as nice singers.
Times I saw it because I saw it 3 times. Okay, and every single time I swear my face was just like I don't even have any words for this. Like this, it's amazing. It's so wacky. It's like and like at the same time, it's just great. It's a great combo. It's not bad. It's so good.
That is a good point that you make about not seeing them that way because that's another thing I did notice is that like in like Super Mario World, Super Mario 3 days, like when the Goombas saw you, they're like little jerks. They would like run after you all of a sudden and like try to attack you. And in this one, they're just like chilling. They don't care. They're just doing their thing, walking around, and they don't come after you. And the turtles don't seem to care. They're like dancing to the music too, and like
they actually sleep in this game, bro.
Yeah,
like you join in the levels and they're like they have those little bubbles over there under their head, bro. They're snoring. I'm like,
so Mario's a menace.
The enemies, it really is.
It kind of is a little bit. Yeah,
like dude, we were playing the game and like my chat was like, bro, the enemies are just so cute. We can't kill them. And I was like, okay, see now that's where you're wrong. But anyways, but like,
I bet there will be people that try to like do speed runs and start challenges where they don't kill anybody, like try to do it without.
Bro.
There's definitely going to be a game theory coming out where Mario's actually the bad guy.
Oh yeah, you already know, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't you have one like that before already though?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Anyways, I haven't watched this video in ages. So.
One of the other things I read about the game was that Super Mario Bros. 1, so the original Super Mario Bros. Was made by a team of five guys. All right, they had burgers and fries.
Yes, sir. That's what I was looking for.
It was a 5-person team, and all 5 of those guys are still at Nintendo. They're still at Nintendo. 4 of them worked on this game, and 1 of them was listed in the credits in the special thanks section, but they're all still working for Nintendo. And I just thought, man, like, how amazing is that? Like, that the culture of the Nintendo as a company must be so good that you would stay there for 40 years and still want to work on the game that you originally worked on. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's gotta be good. It's gotta be good, man. Like
that explains.
Like, bro, some people work at a place for a couple months that already want to leave. I'm like, in comparison, staying at Nintendo for pretty much your whole life,
your whole career, yeah.
Like,
And the thing is that there's so many companies, and I'm sure anybody watching or you guys can maybe think of a few. How many times have people left companies and the result of the game and its quality immediately? It's almost like it's just like, you know how they say sometimes causation or correlation doesn't mean causation. Like it's almost like that proves it, like as it is true. One of the examples I give, I think, is one of the big ones would be, I think, the lead developers of the people who made COD Zombies, for example. They left. Everyone noticed this isn't the COD Zombies that I used to play growing up. I think there was something similar that happened with Destiny, but I could be wrong. But I'm sure there could be numerous examples we can think of where people would leave companies and then the result of the quality just absolutely dips. So that explains everything. If we're talking, sustained quality from Nintendo for years to come, that explains it right there.
Right. No wonder Nintendo games always like hit every single time, bro.
Yeah. Because it's passion. That's pure passion.
Obviously there was more than just those 5 people that worked on this one. There was a much bigger team that worked on this game than the original. But for them to still be passionate enough to want to be on the project. Like, I think that says something about the company. And that coupled with what I read about them saying, hey, there's no deadline, just create. Like that, to me, no wonder this game came out in such a wonderful state, when you got a company that's just backing you up like that.
Yeah.
And can we get a wonder counter?
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. The game is good. The game is so good.
The game is good. And you're right. Like, it's hard. It'd be really hard to give a 10 out of 10 because any human creation is going to have some kind of flaw in it, So I don't know if it's possible to get a 10 out of 10. But it is a very good game, and I would probably give it a 9.5 out of 10. My real dilemma here is, and I need to finish the game first and probably play it a couple more times before I can decide. But is it going to be my new favorite Super Mario Bros. Game? Because for long it's been Super Mario Bros. 3, but this game is giving it a run for its money for sure.
I can agree with that, man. Like it's like, I was talking about how it's a Mario game and like how the critics might compare it to other Mario games. Like this game, it doesn't even seem comparable to other Mario games. It feels so different, and yet at the same time it still gives you that same feeling that you get from playing other Mario games.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, they just tried so many new ideas. Have you tried the online?
I did try the online.
So did you put any of the cardboard cutout things out there for other people to use?
No, because I am crazy.
Okay. Did you use anybody else's?
Okay. So here's what I did when I turned on online. I actually did not go on like the full online mode. I made my own friend room.
Okay.
So I didn't get to try out any of that, but I did get to try out a couple of them when a couple people joined in. I think we had like 4 people in our lobby or something.
Okay.
It was good. The cardboard cutouts worked, but I don't know. What was your experience? Because you sound
I just tried the normal online with everybody, and my experience was it was pretty neat. I thought it was a good way to have that online addition to the game, and honestly, it'd probably make the game a little bit easier for some people to get through single player, because anywhere in the level you can add your cardboard cutout. What do they call it?
They called it a standee.
A standee. You can put your standee anywhere in the level, and then if somebody else, it's like a silhouette of it, but if you touch somebody else's standee, then it pops into your game like in color, and then if you die, if you can get your ghost back to it fast enough within 5 seconds and touch it again, then it will revive you, but then it disappears, so you can only use it once. And I think it's like, I don't know, it's just really cool because you can place them in strategic places and help other people out or whatever. And it's kind of neat because one of the other things I noticed was like you can see the like shadowy figures of other people who are playing at the same time as you, and maybe they might like go off screen and discover something that you haven't gotten to yet, and so you can kind of like watch other people and find new areas of each level by watching other people as well. And I thought that was kind of neat.
That brought me back to my thing where you were talking about the timer. Okay, there's no timer.
Yeah,
I was in the singing piranha plant level for 20 minutes. Okay, here's the thing. Every single level that you complete will have a check mark if you've 100% completed. Right. I think we get 5 levels in before I actually go to the courses menu and check it on stream. And then we're like, okay, hey, I completed this level. Hey, why doesn't this one have a check mark? And they were like, oh, the check mark doesn't mean anything. And I'm like, okay, listen, guys, this is Nintendo we're talking about. They're not going to put a random check mark on things and say it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
okay? It means something. So we went back to the level and I was like, okay, let me try completing it without the Wonder Seed. Let me try completing it with the Wonder Seed. Let me try checking the pipes. And I was like, okay, I still have not found where this thing is.
Yeah.
And I ended up, I'm not gonna lie, okay, we got to World 2. I was like, okay, I'll come back to it. I completed World 2 and I got everything there was in World 2. I even got an achievement and it was like, hey, you collected everything in World 2. And I was like, I did not get that for World 1.
Yeah.
No. And so I ended up looking it up. I was like, okay, what is in World 2 that I'm missing? And they were like, so here's the thing. And I was like, it's gotta be easy or something, right? And like it was easy. It wasn't that hard.
You just gotta find the stuff. I mean,
yeah, exactly. It wasn't even hard, and I knew it wasn't. I was like, bro, there's no way they could hide something this level and make it difficult to find.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, I like that there was no timer because I wasn't rushing to get to the flag afterward or rushing to try and find it. I was chilling in that level. Like my whole chat was jamming out to the music for 20 minutes, bro. Like we're chilling. It was good.
It is really good.
I didn't even notice I was in there for 20 minutes until I looked down at my streaming timer and I was like, oh dang, sorry chat, we've been here for a while.
Yeah,
it was good.
Very good. Well, one of the other things we've been doing is we've been talking about the intersection of gaming and faith and how those things are related. And so tonight I want to talk about Yugi has picked out a game he wants to bring up, and we're gonna have a discussion about this and talk about what the Bible would say about the game. So Yugi, you want to set that up for us?
Absolutely. So the game I chose was Metal Gear Solid, the original PS1 game.
Okay. Hey, that collection came out today.
Exactly. So some of you folks who've bought it might be playing it. A lot of you guys probably are in my age range, late 20s, 30s, or maybe you're younger and you want to dive into the Metal Gear universe. One of the big themes of it, though, is a battle between two brothers, Solid Snake and Liquid Snake. They're twin brothers. And I'm going to summarize it as quickly and as shortly as I can. Basically, Liquid Snake is the evil twin brother, and Solid Snake in the situation is the good twin brother. Not by virtue, but by circumstance. Okay. They're both basically hired guns in this game. However, one of the big things that Liquid Snake brings up is that he wants to succeed his father's wishes. His father's wishes was to control the world in certain ways, and he thought that his father failed because he was defeated by Solid Snake. So bear with me, I'm gonna try to break this down. Okay, Big Boss is the big bad guy. He's the top guy, right? You've got Solid Snake on the bottom right, or bottom left, let's say, and you've got Liquid Snake on the bottom right. Okay, Solid Snake somehow manages to kill who is his own dad, unfortunately, and Liquid Snake actually doesn't like that. He's like, hey, I don't like that you did that to dad. It should have been me. I should have been the one to kill our dad. I don't like you.
Okay.
You're really not that cool. When we were genetically created, they gave me all of the bad genes and gave you all the good genes. I really don't like you. And matter of fact, the fact that dad allowed you to die or allowed himself to die by you makes me sick. So I'm going to kill everyone and I'm going to do a better job. Solid Snake, however, he actually doesn't like that he had to kill his father. It traumatizes him. It bothers him. It hurts him. It hurts that he went against his own dad because the military made him to. He actually lived out in Alaska. He didn't want to do anything with anyone. He actually got dragged back into this situation, because Liquid Snake, his twin brother, decided to become a terrorist because he's upset because of all this. So anyway, point being, relates to the story of Cain and Abel, the time and true, well-known story. It's a story of jealousy. There are times where, and this is obviously not a one-to-one, but it's very close in the sense that there's a jealousy there in the way that Solid Snake is portrayed. He's the one who unfortunately had to kill his own father due to the situation, but he did it in the way that he thought was good because, again, the context is that his father was trying to control the world, so the military sent them out to stop him. And the thing is, he's a carbon copy. Remember, he's a carbon copy of his father, who's supposed to be the greatest soldier in the world. So there's literally no one else that can do it. And you have someone else who's very jealous of that, of what is this sacrifice, which is essentially the same story with Cain and Abel. How there was a sacrifice there and there was some jealousy there, and God favored, I believe and I want to get the name right. Was it Abel at this time? I'm sorry, I'm a little rusty on
Cain killed Abel. Cain was jealous of Abel. Yeah.
Okay, so he was jealous of Abel and what he did. So it's like same scenario in the sense of that how that game is and where, you know, he didn't like what he did and how he did a sacrifice. I think the overarching story that I think we can all learn from this, and like I said, we can get more biblical with it. And please help me out in this part because, like I said, it's been years since I went over this story, but it was the first thing that came to my heart. You can't cut shortcuts, and I think like one of the things that Liquid Snake tries to do is that like he instead of and this is later in the series actually, we're kind of jumping ahead a little bit. Instead of like doing it his own way, he kind of decides to cheat in order to access like the main system to take over the world better than his dad. He like attaches a piece of his like DNA onto him. So he's like not even doing it the right way. Like basically the whole time he's being like sneaky and slimy about it versus where it's like Solid Snake, again, not virtuous people, but in the story, he still tries to stay like true to like an honor code. He's not really cutting corners. He's doing things the way it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? And so it's like, you can't hide that from God, right? You can't bring an inadequate offer and cut corners and try to be and basically shortchange him. You know what I mean? Either go all the way in with what he asks or don't do it at all.
Yeah.
So that's another theme I kind of wanted to bring up, but I hope I was able to articulate it as best I can there.
Oh, that was good.
Thank you.
So yeah, in the story of Cain and Abel, you have two brothers, just like you explained, and one of them is he raises livestock basically, and the other one grows vegetables and fruits and stuff, I guess. And so Cain, who grows food from the ground, he brings a food offering to God, but Abel brings an animal sacrifice to God. And there's a lot of debate on why God shows favor to Abel and not to Cain. But I guess the prevailing theory is that twofold. One, that if you back up to Genesis chapter 3, when Adam and Eve sin, Adam and Eve is Cain and Abel's parents. So when Adam and Eve sin, God has to send them away because he can't be in the presence of sin. And so he sends them away, but he doesn't send them away naked and ashamed. He actually clothes them with animal skin. And they had made these prickly things out of leaves for themselves that weren't comfortable, but he like clothes them with real clothes, basically, like that are more comfortable and more protective. But in order to do that, he has to sacrifice an animal. So Adam and Eve are witnesses to the first actual physical death, I guess, in the Bible, where God sacrifices an animal in order to clothe them. And so he takes a life in order to make sure that they can live. That sets the example for the generations to come as to what sin requires. It requires a death. It requires the blood. So Cain and Abel know that. They undoubtedly know that story. Cain, it seems like Cain just kind of flippantly is like, oh, here's my offering. I'm bringing you some of my stuff. But it says specifically of Abel that he brought the firstborn of his flock. Like the best. He brought the stuff that was first. He gave his first stuff to God, the best stuff to God, and it was a blood sacrifice that he brought to God for his sin. And so it would seem that Abel's taking this seriously, that his heart, he is truly seeking to be right with God, and Cain kind of doesn't care. And we kind of get that from Cain's character, because the next thing that happens is Cain gets jealous that God favors Abel. And so God, what does Cain deserve in that moment from God? What has he earned in any way from God? Anything? And yet God goes to Cain. And it's actually, I want to read this part, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
From Genesis 4. It says that Cain was very angry and his face was downcast. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must master it." And so God goes to Cain, who isn't living rightly, and says, hey, you're jealous because I gave my favor to your brother, but I'm willing to give it to you too. But you have to do what is right. You have to do what is required, and you have to do things the way that I set them up to be. And Cain is clearly not willing to do that, because the next thing that Cain does is he doesn't heed God's advice. He doesn't heed God's instruction at all. It just says next that now Cain said to his brother Abel, let's go out to the field. And while they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. So my question to that is if we want to learn a lesson from these two brothers is hey, what do you do with correction, with instruction when somebody comes to you and says, hey, I think that there's a better way to do this. I think there's that you're headed down the wrong path here. Are you willing to listen to it, or are you just going to be hard-headed and keep going the way that you want to go in the rush of emotions of whatever you're feeling? And I think that's kind of what Cain's caught up in here a little bit, is that he's caught up in this anger and this jealousy, and he allows that to dictate his actions rather than heeding the correction that God is bringing. God's showing him grace in this moment of sin by saying, hey, I noticed that you're not feeling so great about all this. Do what is right. Worship me in the right way. What a great God who comes to us in the midst of our temptation, in the midst of our anger, and shows us the grace and the mercy to say, I'm not going to punish you for how you're feeling, but I want you to know that sin's trying to overtake you. I don't want that to happen. You got to master it. You got to stop this. And I think that that's just a really cool, I think that's an awesome God right there who would do that, who goes out of his way to do that.
Amen.
But he doesn't, and so Abel is murdered. And then God still doesn't kill Cain immediately, but he does come to him again. The Lord said to Cain, where is your brother Abel? And this is how flippant Cain is about all of this, because his response to God, when God says, where is your brother Abel? He says, I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper? He just has no respect for God at all. He just lies straight to his face. I don't know. I don't know where my brother is. He's not my responsibility. Well, yeah, he kind of is. We all have families. I think our families are our responsibility. We're supposed to take care of each other, But he just lies to God's face. And the Lord said, what have you done? Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are under a curse and driven from the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. You will be a restless wanderer on the earth. And Cain said to the Lord, my punishment is more than I can bear. Today you are driving me from the land, and I will be hidden from your presence. I will be a restless wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me. And man, I just think, gosh, I'm talking too much, aren't I?
No, dude, keep going.
When you are
You're cooking.
when you get caught and the consequences come, that feeling when you and all of a sudden now he's like, okay, I respect you now. I am gonna listen to you now, God, because this punishment, it's more than I can bear, to be dismissed from your presence and just have to wonder around, and people are going to know that I killed my brother, and they're going to kill me. I'm not going to be safe anymore if I'm away from you. And even in this moment of his extreme guilt, and after just being a complete jerk to his creator, the Lord said to him, not so. If anyone kills Cain, he will suffer vengeance 7 times over. Then the Lord put a mark on Cain so that no one who found him would kill him. So Cain went out from the Lord's presence and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. And so even in that moment, God's still showing him grace. And that so often we run into people who believe that God, especially the God of the Old Testament, is this God of vengeance and wrath and fire and brimstone, and he is so not. When you really dive in and read this word, his word, what you find is a God who is extremely patient, who is extremely gracious, and who still comes to you, goes out of his way to meet with you, even in the midst of your sin, so that he can try to guide you back to what is right. And he's still protecting people. And that's the God we see here. And that's the God that I know and have experienced and want to give praise to. So that's kind of how that story ends, except what we see next is that he has descendants, and it starts to talk about his descendants. And one of his descendants is Lamech. And Lamech, he writes a song in this chapter where he brags about getting vengeance on someone and killing someone else. He's so wrapped up in sin that he's almost gleeful about his own sin. And then it says at the end of the chapter that Adam and Eve have another son named Seth after this, and Seth has a son named Enosh, and it says at that time men began to call on the name of the Lord, or proclaim the name of the Lord. And what we see here is like this really big dichotomy between people who are following their own path and people who are following God's path for humanity, and how different they are. And that's the story we get in Cain and Abel's story. But God still reaches out to both and still has grace for both. But you have to be willing to receive the grace and receive the correction, because guess what? We don't always get it right. Sin is crouching at each of our doors, wanting to take over. And we have to be willing to say no to it, say yes to God, say no to sin, and master it. And I think that God helps us with that when we receive the correction and follow his way.
Wonderful.
Got anything to add to that?
Bro, I think you touched on it pretty well. Just to say the least.
Very, very well. Yeah.
No, dude, that was bro, like sermon level over here, bro.
For real.
I mean, it's just so encouraging. Like, what does that really teach us about God's justice and his mercy?
Right.
For us.
Yeah.
What does it say about him and his character?
Right. Yeah, I guess like if I were to go back to the same, like the game example that you've been, and how you mentioned how he's always been the same God. In the end, funny enough, in the beginning of the Metal Gear series, Big Boss, aka Snake's dad, is always labeled as this like tyrannical, crazy, like terrorist type of person. But at the end of the game, they kind of actually sit down and have a conversation on get an understanding of what it was and why they are the way they are and how they ended up the way they ended up. So it wasn't necessarily that he was what he was made out to be. It's just that he just had a vision that he wanted to do, but he's accepted, his fate. I'm not saying it's the same example, but I like how you said that, like, in the story, Big Boss was always the same person. He was just colored a tyrant, and colored a mass crazy terrorist and a bad guy the whole time, and someone that nobody wants to be like, versus in the end, you kind of have a different look at him and you're like, wait a minute, maybe he wasn't what we thought it was this whole time. Maybe he was just trying to fight for a different vision of the world. And so I would say, I would add on to that, like you just said it perfectly. I don't think anyone could have said it perfectly. He's always been the same God.
Right.
He's always been the same God.
Right.
It's never, like you said, people like to say things like, oh, the God of the Old Testament is a tyrant and the new one is of forgiveness. And it's like, he's always been that way. We
see that in the story. And this is
exactly
at the beginning of the Bible.
Right. At the very beginning.
chapter.
Absolutely. And it's like, it's just amazing how people pick and choose instead of reading through the whole story. And I guess I kind of get it. Like the same things with Metal Gear. Like there's so much lore in Metal Gear. I could literally talk about it like for days on end. Some people just don't want to either hear it or skim through it, or it's like when you sit down and you actually take the time and you actually genuinely seek the truth. Look at that. The truth is much better than you can even possibly imagine, and that's okay. That's a great thing.
Well, Jesus said the truth will set you free, right? And
absolutely.
And I think that there's a lot of bondage that comes with the excuse of, well, I think I know this God, and I think that he's just a God who wants to smite me every time I make a wrong choice. So why would I want to be a part of a relationship with that God? And that becomes an excuse. But when you learn the truth, it sets you free from the deception of that, where you can walk into that loving, gracious, merciful relationship that is full of forgiveness and full of hope.
It's amazing. Like I totally off subject, but I'm gonna go through this for like 1 minute. If you give me if you would indulge me.
Yeah.
Thank you. So big relevant fight happened between Logan Paul and Dylan Dan. I'm going to summarize it very quickly, but there was a lot of Twitter spat. There was a lot of words exchanged. A lot of things that shouldn't have been said have been said. However, what's interesting, Logan Paul said, how can I go into the ring and fight this guy without losing it? Because he was so emotional, right? Did you see this clip, guys? Before I spoil it, this is the same guy who's been denying Jesus, disrespecting our Lord, saying very, very blasphemous things. His co-host, George Janko, they had a falling out because he's a Christian and he was being bullied a lot. Point is, that night he meditated and he thought, how could I go into this ring without wanting to rip this guy's head off because he's been saying such bad things? And the only thing he thought of was forgiveness. And he says, and this is his quote, not mine, he says, the only person I could think of was Jesus, who's the person who is the true like image of what is to be forgiven. What is forgiveness truly? And everyone was rejoicing and very happy because all this time he was rejecting, denying, and he's like, the answer was right in front of him, and it always has been, because there's been multiple YouTubers who have been coming to him and saying, look, man, you gotta stop with the anti-God stuff. Like, you're gonna see Jesus, and you're probably not gonna like the way it ends up. And look at that. Like, now he's starting to see, like, maybe this God is a forgiving God, maybe. And a lot of it is you got to forgive yourself, because he doesn't like the idea, I think, of like that it's just that simple. Like, it's almost like we're weird as humans. Like, I feel like we can't accept that it's like okay to be forgiven sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we have to like carry this cloud over ourselves. You know, we become like Cain in that story, where like, how am I gonna bear the guilt? And it's like, no, God's got you. It's okay. Like, he's gonna take, at the end of all this, he's taking care of you, and he sent his son. You know, like, and kind of like in the story of Cain, like, he got marked so he can be taken care of and not, you know, killed even while he's out there. So it's like, a lot of times we get too caught up in our own heads when we know what punishment is coming towards us, right?
Yeah.
You know, thank you, Holy Spirit, for guiding me through that. So that's all I gotta say about that, because, you know, that's a totally off topic, but it's just like amazing how God works. And this clip was posted, I think, like this week. So God's working in people, man.
Oh yeah. Praise God that someone, you know, with his platform came to that realization and actually spoke out about it, too, because God doesn't mean that God can use that to reach other people, you know.
It doesn't mean he's like a devout Christian now, you know.
Right.
There's a lot of work there, but it's amazing how people look at Christ and understand that it's forgiveness, but we believe as Christians that Christ is God, and God has been the same God this whole time, guys.
Right. Yeah.
It's really like nothing's changed. He's just another answer that he's been giving us throughout history. This is just, like, for lack of a better term, like a tragic almost masterpiece, a gift that we don't deserve. That should have been us. You know. But here we are.
I feel like people try to make this picture about God because of how their own life went.
Right.
You know, the people who didn't grow up with Christ inside of their life. Like, I grew up inside of the church, and I've seen a lot of other people who didn't grow up with that. Okay. Yeah. So, and like from my experience in those situations, they all had their own view about God that did not come from the Bible. It came from their own experiences. Right. Yeah. And I still have friends like that. You know, they judge God based on their experiences rather than judging God based on like what the Bible has to say about God. And like, as humans, like I don't think there's a human you could talk to who thinks they're perfect. Okay. Yeah. Like that, and if they say that they're perfect, they like most of them already know they're saying a lie. They just said it so much that they start to believe it. And it's in those moments like where I feel like that's when we start to keep on falling. You know, we're not asking God for help, and we're not seeing God in the gracious way that he actually is. And then we reject him thinking that we can do better by ourselves. I mean, even this amazing YouTuber that you're talking about, bro, came to the realization that like Jesus was like, he was like, okay, I can't forgive this guy. Like, he's done some pretty crazy things. How do I even keep on going about this in a calm way? Like, he's like, I can't. And even he came to the realization that Jesus was what he needed. Jesus was what he needed in order to be able to forgive this guy. I don't know his whole life, but I mean, it's from what we can see, we can clearly see the realization is there. He knows what he needs.
Yeah, it's a crazy clip when you see him before they start fighting. You know what, he looks at his opponent and he says, I forgive you. I've never seen that before. Listen, I've boxed. I ain't saying I forgive. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're in a different like realm. I'm not saying it's healthy, but you're not in that state of mind. So to see that was like, and even if he doesn't come to, it blessed me. Yeah. I have never done that and I've gotten into way more fights than I care to admit. I have never once said, I forgive you at any point. Like, you get so angry, you get so wrathful, you know, I hate fighting. Like, I can't stand it. Not in the like, in the vengeful sense or like an angry sense. As a sport, I think it's fine, but man, like, to see that, that really moved me. I would look it up. It's just, you can tell he meant what he was saying. Maybe I'm looking too deep into it. It's just amazing. Yeah, it's just amazing. How do you say that before a fight? Imagine Mike Tyson, I forgive you. Like, no. Like, but imagine you would look at him very differently, you know, but that's not what he was saying. He was saying horrible things, but you know, it's just different, you know?
Well, it's definitely makes it a lot easier when you realize that that we can be forgiven, that
Right.
God can forgive us of, and He knows every single thing that we've ever done that was wrong, that was sin.
Right.
And He
Right.
forgives of all of it. And He knows every single thing we're going to do. And He's forgiven all of that as well. It makes it a lot
Exactly.
easier to look at your neighbor and say, I forgive you, because I know the forgiveness that I've received. I know the forgiveness I've received, so I can forgive you too. And extend that to you. So praise
Beautifully
God
said.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Praise God. Yeah.
Well, let's see. We got a couple more topics here. Halloween is coming up. Next week, we're going to be live streaming. I think as long as we're all well and everything, we're going to live streaming the scariest game of the season, Headbangers Rhythm Royale.
Ooh, gives me shivers just thinking about it.
Yes. So my question tonight is, what is your favorite scary game of all time and why? I'm gonna start with you, Yugi.
All right. Very favorite scary game of all time. Wow. And the thing is, I don't get scared very easily. So this is a hard one for me.
Well, it doesn't have to be scary. Just like
we're literally
like
calling
in the season.
Headbangers a scary game. Okay, so I'm like,
Okay, in the season, let me think. Because I've played so many games. Let's see. A good one that I can't get the first time of me playing it, the experience and the fun and the feeling that I got out of it, I can't get over, was the first Dead Space. It was borderline a masterpiece. Very intense game, definitely not for kids. But however, the way they did the environments in that game is just like top tier. Like it's like timeless. They took what was Resident Evil 4 at the time, which is like one of the most popular, survival horror games at its time, in PS2, put it into the PS3 era of gaming and just like mastered it. And I loved everything about it. I remember I had for some reason, I don't know how, I had like a week off in the military and I was able to buy my first not buy my first PS3, but I was able to buy Dead Space and just spend a week playing it on my own. And that's when I really was like, wow, like this is something special, because it was just like an experience that I can't explain. It was just surreal in a good way. Definitely I wouldn't recommend it to everyone, but if you got the tolerance for it, I would say that would be my favorite scary game. Now, just thematically and just for like fun, and it's like spooky. Yeah, I would say the game we're about to play is pretty up there. Oh man, I don't know. Goat Simulator is pretty up there too. Some of the stuff you see on Goat Simulator is pretty horrifying.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Doesn't it have like a zombie mode or something?
Oh yeah.
It has plenty. It has plenty. I got to play it, and that's and I watched my brother play it too, bro. It's a really good game, but like, dude, it's definitely a thriller. Like you hop into it, and those jump scares are like,
I like
it's
a little too much. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like with the gore and all that.
Yeah,
there was some stuff on the second one that messed me up. Like, there's this enemy type. I'm just gonna show you. I know you guys aren't gonna play it, and I don't blame you, but let me just show you what it does. Okay, this is what it does. It hides behind the wall, and it goes like this. It looks at you, and then goes back. I was like, nah, I'm turning this game off. How you gonna do that?
Nah, bro.
It hides behind walls, like
okay, so
and then it goes back. I was like, no.
I don't know if I told you guys, okay, but I was filming a top 5 video, which is the reason why I haven't actually posted any top 5 videos for the last month. Well, that's not exactly the reason, but it's one of the reasons. Okay, the first top 5 video I was making was top 5 fighting games. I'm not a big fighting game guy. Okay, I didn't end up finishing that one because I don't feel like I could rightly judge that properly with my biased opinion. I'm like, all the games are 0 out of 10. Goodbye. Like, anyways, no. And then like the next video that I went and got was, I was like, okay, it's October. It's spooky season. I need to play horror games. I'm not a horror game guy. Okay, listen, I will hop onto a horror game, play it for 5 minutes, and get too scared because of the ambiance and leave. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah. It's not my thing.
I tried to play Resident Evil 7 and I got through the first hour and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, my nerves were on. They weren't even in my body anymore. They went on vacation somewhere else. Like I was
people.
It was just too much, and so I just deleted it. I was like, I
don't blame you. Yeah,
people can call me a wimp all they want, but dude, I can't play horror games, bro. It's not my thing.
No, I feel you. Something happened to me. Like, I'm gonna tell you, man. Like, speaking of Metal Gear, like there's a scene on there, and it messed me up. I was a young kid. I was like maybe like 8 or 9. I had no business playing Metal Gear, but here I am playing Metal Gear. and there's an invisible ninja making the craziest sounds. And I remember I could never get back to playing that game again. I gave it to my mom, and she like hit it, right?
Oh man.
She hit it. I ended up finding it later. I put it in. I was like a little more like mature, I guess. I had like a little more bravery in me, and I finally like beat it. And I was like, Mom, it was just a stupid ninja. She's like, what are you talking about, son? What do you want for dinner later? You know, I felt so accomplished that I like overcame that now I think that inner
like,
child
what are you
in me,
talking about?
yeah, I think that inner child in me like almost
Oh my
like
gosh.
wants to beat horror games just to be like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah,
You're not gonna scare me, you stupid ninja.
Yeah.
Okay, making your weird noises.
Okay, you see,
Well-
I haven't had my training arc yet. That has not
Dude,
happened.
I'm
to
telling
me.
you, I think that's what it is. Because I'm telling you, I used to be just like that, but like something happened to me that day. I felt awakened. I was like, are you kidding me? You're not a ghost. You're just a stupid ninja.
Dude,
And that's how I think of it now.
I can't even beat FNAF up in here, bro. I did screen
Mm.
streams on Saturdays. I used to do those, like back when I actually streamed on Saturday, and I'd be playing Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location. Like, ooh, wow, it actually has a story. Oh, this will be great. Okay, horror game with a story. It can't be that scary. Okay, it's just jump scares, but my freaking goodness, it's just like I can't, bro. I can't.
Yeah,
handle
it's
the
too much.
anticipation of waiting for a jump scare to happen.
Right.
And then like the fact that there's plenty of tasks to do in that game. There's a task where you actually have to mess with one of the animatronics face. Like I'm just no.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So when I brought this up, I was thinking more like it doesn't have to be horror, but like the Ghostbusters game that came out a few years ago. You know, like that's not horror. It's just an action game, but it's in like it has a Halloween vibe. Or one that I played recently was Ghostwire Tokyo. Got kind of a spooky
Let's
vibe,
go.
but it's not scary, and it's actually a pretty good game. The one that I picked out. Well, Falcon, did you pick one out?
A scary game.
A quote.
Spooky.
A spoopy game.
Yeah, I went full send. My bad.
Bro, honestly,
fine, that's
I had two just for that reason because I kind of figured you weren't talking about horror games over here, but I picked one. I have two. An actual horror game. I picked Amnesia, and like one of the games that's out of the Amnesia series.
Okay.
Those games are kind of scary.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, they're insane.
Yeah. But anyways, as for a derpy game, okay, Fortnite during the Halloween season has this thing called Fort Nightmares. I'm just saying, bro, it's so derpy, but I love it.
Yeah.
Every time it rolls around.
I think that's an acceptable answer. I like
I
that.
was gonna say if we're gonna go there real quick, I heard the Plants vs Zombies like modding community is actually really good.
Bro, what?
Like for those of you who care, like the original, like I guess it would be considered an RTS. Like apparently it's got like really good like mods. Like people animate the little zombies and they've got like tiers of them. Like because there's like the dancing zombie, the football zombie.
Yeah.
Like there's like a lot of
those games would fit. I think that fits.
Yeah. Let's tone it down a bit.
I've played,
yeah. Bo was thinking more of a Bo was thinking more Halloween. He was like, "Hey, what Halloween costume you're wearing?" We roll up in here. We're like, "You want to hear about my past trauma?" Oh my gosh, dude. For real.
Oh yeah.
He's like, "No, guys, stop."
Yeah.
So the one that I picked was I thought about Resident Evil 4, the original one, because I really like that game a lot, and it has some jump scares, but it's not really super scary.
No.
I also thought about Ghostbusters, but the one that I think is my favorite is Luigi's Mansion 3, which is not scary. It has ghosts everywhere. It's Luigi's Mansion 3, and that game is so good. And I played it with my kids last year, and they loved it. Like we played co-op, and it's so fun. The puzzles are so good. I think it's just a really good like couch co-op if you want to play with one of your kids or anybody really, because the puzzles are so interesting, and they actually make you think, and the combat mechanics are really good too, and the bosses that you fight are all really creative and really inventive. I mean, it's another one of those games where like Nintendo like really thought this through and did a really good job, and the facial animations on Luigi and just the way they animated his body and when he gets scared and when he jumps around or whatever, like it's all like it's so good and so smooth, and so it's a really, really good game. I highly recommend it. And it would be perfect to play right now in this current season. So yeah,
I've played it a little bit. I never got to beat it because I don't own the game. I borrowed it from one of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Bo. It's a good game, bro. It's solid.
It is, and it's not like for kids. Like it's not easy. Like it's not an easy game. An adult can play it and enjoy it too. Yeah, thought it was excellent. So last topic for the night then. Spider-Man 2. I got Spider-Man 2. Yuki, you got Spider-Man 2. Falcon is drooling because he wishes he had Spider-Man 2.
Dude, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I've been seeing clips and I'm just like, dang, this is the only reason that I am sad that I don't have that I don't have a PlayStation.
Well, it's the only game PlayStation 5 has. So.
Dude, I feel like the last 3 episodes we bragged so much on PlayStation. Bro.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to, but I'm just, it's just the truth, guys.
It's the only game I got installed on my PS5.
Oh my gosh, dude! All the other games I've seen my friends playing on PlayStation 5, I'm like, okay, so why not play it on Xbox? Like,
Right.
like all of the stuff that they have, bro. They're not exclusive.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
Sorry.
Anyways, yes, Spider-Man 2. Yugi, what are your impressions? I'm assuming you haven't finished it quite yet, or have you?
No. So I got about almost 7 hours in.
Okay, so maybe like halfway or something like that.
Roughly. If but I'm 100%, and so I'm gonna take my sweet time and enjoy one of the few games that we're gonna be playing for a while.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make it count. Yeah, impressions, very good impressions. I am if you can appreciate cinematics, love it. Every cutscene feels like a top tier movie for Marvel. Acting's phenomenal. Everything about it just screams AAA quality, and I love that. If I had to give it criticisms, it's just the lack of like some features from the previous iterations,
such as.
But so the only one that a lot of people, and myself included, are a little upset about is that if you played the first game, I don't know if you have or not.
I have, yeah.
So do you remember when you would lock a costume, it would come with an ability exclusive to that costume?
Yeah.
That's the only gripe that people have. It seems like the cosmetics.
They don't have that?
No. So
there's no badges.
Yeah,
to put it in Mario terms. There's no badges with the costume.
I watched the I actually did watch all of the first Spider-Man game.
Okay. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay. Don't worry. I haven't watched all of Spider-Man 2 yet, so I don't know what's in it or not. All I've seen is the Sandman stuff and some of the cutscenes from the game and just how amazing it is.
Yeah, they changed it where like you get it's the same costume but in different color variations. So you got that in this one, which it wasn't in the first one, but there's no special ability that comes with this.
Yeah, they really toned that down. So in a way, I can see how that feels. There's not as much incentive to experiment or like buy a costume and like try out this new gadget that comes with it.
That's true.
And it was also attached to the lore, so and you could mix and match as well. So just because you bought a costume for a certain ability, you weren't locked to that costume. You could use like the Tobey Maguire suit and then have like a Iron Man spider suit, and mix and match the two. Exactly. So that's the one gripe, and it's understandable. But I mean, what you get in lieu of it, I don't know. It doesn't really bother me.
Have you noticed how they took the you used to be able to bring up the selection wheel and pick a bunch of different things, and now like all that's gone.
Yeah, all that's gone.
Like there's I think you can have it's just 4 things you have now. And you pick that from the D-pad maybe or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, so you can upgrade just those 4, whereas before you had basically a Batman belt full of gadgets. Whereas now they really nerfed you in gadgets. But I guess you have to look at it. This is how you have to look at it. It feels good to see all those nice things on the wheel, right? But remember, now you have the combo abilities, like the actual like attack actions.
Yeah, you definitely still have enough things, to win all your fights and stuff. There's plenty.
It just doesn't look as
experience,
but
there are.
It doesn't look as pretty to have all that. Like people like to see, like, oh, I got all these gadgets. It's like no, like you still do. It's just separate between 2 macros. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Batman, I'm playing this game and I'm thinking the combat is even closer to like the Arkham series than it was previously. How do you feel about that? Do you have any opinions about that?
I think that's fine as long as they give it that Spider-Man spin.
Right.
I don't see a problem with it. I mean, Arkham is Arkham for a reason, right? It's. I don't think this is a controversial take. We'll see what happens, but I do think that's probably the best superhero game. I would agree with you. Yeah. Yeah, I think everyone can agree with that. Like, it's very hard to beat Arkham. Like, whoa, that's a really good series. So
the combat's just excellent. So it makes sense for them to take inspiration from that and use it here. But man, it just feels so close to that. I mean, if some modder replaced Spider-Man with Batman in this game, it would almost feel like a Batman game.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's what I mean. Like the mechanics are still different, right? You're not web swinging in Batman, but you've got the glider. Now they added that to the second one, which is funny.
Right. Okay, so can we talk about that?
Absolutely.
Can we talk about the glide suit? And that's not a spoiler. I mean, all the trailers and stuff. Right?
Oh, how dare you? No,
He was like literally in the movies, right? Like they know. Yeah.
Yeah. So they added the glide suit. You just got your PS5 for this game, dude. Talk to me about those load times.
Oh yeah,
because I'm playing this, and you are gliding, like you are flying through the city so fast. Like there's no reason to fast travel to anything because if swinging is pretty fast, but when you start gliding, man, it is just so fast. And I don't ever see anything pop in. There's no pop in. And it is loading this whole city and all the cars and all of the people walking around like in trees. And I'm looking for it and I haven't seen any. Yeah. Like it's really loading all of this stuff that fast. And it's just
ray tracing and
and it blows my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I was telling you before we were recording, I was making thumbnails out of those images of me just swinging throughout the city. You can go to photo mode real quick, take a picture, and it all is high fidelity mode. As long as you have it on there, everything's high quality. You can even make thumbnails out of it. It's amazing. Like the leap in generations is just, it's astounding. Never in my wildest dreams. I guess like if you play so many video games, which I don't really get to, but man, like if you I don't know, I don't want to pass judgment on those who play a lot, but I feel like maybe it's a little underappreciated what you're saying, because it's like this is not how it used to be when we were growing up. It's just like, like if this is what we thought we saw growing up, but this is actually like happening. I remember there was a point in the stream I was looking at the balloons in my reflection. I was like, oh, that's a real reflection. I'm like throwing kicks in front of it. I'm like, no, that's a reflection. It's not like a made up like they used to do back then, where it was like a foggy kind of lens and it just looked like a shadow. Like, no, like that's it. That's you. I'm like
in the high school.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Those balloons.
Yeah.
I noticed that too. Yeah.
And even if you go on like the side of buildings, as long as you have it in fidelity mode, you can see your reflection.
Are you playing in fidelity mode? I was curious about that too.
Yeah, just for viewer experience. Like I would obviously rather play it on performance.
So I started in fidelity mode because I always start in fidelity mode because it's a lot easier to move from 30 frames to 60 frames than it is from 60 frames to 30 frames if you have to choose between the two.
Yeah.
So I always start in fidelity to see like how it really looks, and if I'm like, 30 frames is fine, I'll just play the whole game that way. Please don't hate me for saying this. I started in fidelity mode and I just kept thinking, this looks off to me. There's something about it that looks off to me. Even in I saw that you loved the intro with the Sandman stuff. It was a cool sequence. It was really, really awesome. It was a great tutorial into the game too. Even though like if you played the previous ones, you don't really need a tutorial probably, but it was a great way to intro you into that world and into the new mechanics and controls of the game. So I loved it, but I kept thinking there's just something off about this sand and stuff. Like I don't know, I can't explain it. It just didn't look right to me. Yeah. And then I saw everybody's faces and they start talking and I was like, this doesn't look right to me either. Like I think the previous games looked better. Yeah. And then I put it in performance mode, and maybe it's just my TV, I don't know, but I put it in performance mode and suddenly it looks better to me in performance mode than it does in fidelity mode. And I do not understand why that is, but I don't know. Hopefully I don't catch any flack for saying that, but I think
you don't.
It looks normal to me now that it's in performance mode where it didn't before. And so I think I'm just going to finish it in performance mode. I don't know.
I think that's fair. It's the way the frames are processing in front of you. It's more like fluid versus where like 30.
Yeah, I understand that part, but I just mean like the facial animations just seemed like, I don't know, their eyes look off to me. I don't know. It's strange. So I'm going to go back, I think, to fidelity mode after a few more hours of gameplay and see if that's changed for me now. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, you sound like a PC gamer. Yeah, I get you, man. Listen, the more frames, the better. Like you can't go down. You can only go up. So I feel you there.
Well, I don't mind playing in 30 frames. It was just something about it seemed off. You didn't have that experience. Your experience has been...
I know what you're saying. I know it's hard to articulate, but I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. There's some sacrifices being made, I think. in front of us, they're probably using certain types of techniques to like kind of like make it work to where, because you obviously can't have like ray tracing in 60 frames. Like you need a really strong graphics card for that. So they're probably doing things to like limit what you see or something.
There are some things that I think look better than the previous games. Like, there's, I don't know if it's double, it might be triple the amount of cars and like traffic in this game compared to the previous games, and people on the street. Like the city is busier than it was before. Like there's more going on. So I don't know if like that made some of the other more up close stuff take a hit. One of the other things that I thought was a weird choice is that when you're going to a mission start, you're like 100 meters away and it just starts you into the mission. Like you don't have to actually get all the way to the point, and you don't have to hit X or anything. It just immediately starts once you get anywhere near that point. I thought that was kind of a weird choice to make, because maybe I don't want to go there yet, you know, like maybe I was on my way to do to a crime scene or something, and I just happened to be passing by sort of close, but you pulled me into this other thing. But overall, man, I am loving the story so far, at least the main story. I've done a couple of side quests I was like, I could have done without that, but the main story has been really good so far. There's some cameos in here that I was not expecting. I'm not going to spoil anything, but some pretty good cameos and some jokes that I was not expecting. I saw your short about the where they're pointing at each other. I thought that was really good. It
was like they did the thing. They did the thing.
Bro, that's funny.
And the sound effects and stuff are all like spot on. Some of your new abilities, like being able to create the line pretty much anywhere and crawl across it, is really cool. I don't know, anything else you want to say about it that you really liked? Or
I mean, outside of the unlock incentive, which I don't know, I it does kind of bug me a little bit. This, how do I say? I think I was watching Mutahar kind of like explain it. You can tell they're kind of like experimenting a little more with this one, so that when the third one comes out, I think that's when things are perfected. You know what I mean? That
would be great.
Yeah, exactly. Like I as far as, and again, this is just my opinion, I just feel like this might be the best Spider-Man game we've got so far until that third one comes out. Because again, just the way the city feels, you know, New York feels busy. Gameplay feels great outside of the sacrificing gadgets visually, right? From a visual perspective, having the combat abilities is actually better than just, I'm just throwing a little gadget and it explodes. Yeah, it's cool. I get it. It's nice to have gadgets, but being able to punch a bunch of people in a cinematic way and then they explode is cooler. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah.
I love it. Miles is extremely broken. This guy is next level powerful, but I won't say too much. But yeah, I'm loving every second of it. It's hard to complain, like, unless you want to nitpick. But
it really is. Like, it deserves a 9 out of 10. Like it's gotten.
I think so. It's not a perfect game, but it's close to a perfect Spider-Man game. I don't think you could get any better until the third one comes out.
I would even say that it's justifiably a $70 game. And you know, I will not say that about every $70 game, but this one I would say it's worth it. Let me ask you about this, because you just brought up Miles and how powerful he is. I was playing Miles Morales, you know, a couple of years ago, and I was thinking, man, when they make a sequel to this and bring Peter Parker back into it, how are they going to have them together? Like, after playing both and playing as Miles with all of his like bioelectricity powers, Peter's going to seem really wimpy compared to Miles. So how are they going to do this? I kept thinking that, how are they going to elevate Peter to where he can stand toe to toe with Miles in a way where you still want to play as Peter Parker and not just play as Miles all the time? And so they
gave him a Venom suit.
They kind of figured that out, didn't they? Because Miles gets some new powers in this game too, but Peter gets that Venom suit, which again is not a spoiler.
No, everyone knows it.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I was thinking, and we'll get back to this subject on another pod and we can discuss it, but I feel like it's intentional. Like, early game, Miles is very powerful. You know, he's kind of a new character to not new, but new in the mainline games, right?
Mhm.
Make them powerful early game, maybe mid game, kind of strike a little balance, and then late game we'll see. But
Yeah.
that's kind of, I could see the design purpose there, you
Yeah.
know, because he's fresh in the mainline series, so it's cool that you want to play him more because he has more abilities. But I'm
Yeah.
sure once I get the Venom suit, my opinion might change. We'll see.
Yeah, you know, nitpicking again, the Mary Jane missions make a return, at least a little bit. It's not as much, I don't think, in this as it was previously. But what do you think about playing as her? Because the last game, she gotta like sneak around, and this game, she
does a little more.
She does a little more. Have you not gotten that yet?
I'll be interested to see, because no, I haven't played it yet. But you know what?
I thought you were ahead of me.
No. It's only 7 hours, and I got to, let me think, past the spoiler alert, by the way. You remember when Craven shoots the side of that ship? It's like right after that.
Okay.
So I didn't get that very far.
Yeah.
And you know, Miles is like contemplating a bunch of stuff. Anyway, so I didn't get to that. However, I never liked any of those missions. So I'm gonna be extremely honest.
You know how
don't like them.
In Miles, the whole kind of part of the premise of Miles is that he's alone because Peter's gone to Europe with Mary Jane. Well, apparently she received some combat training while they were in Europe. And so Mary Jane, she still has to, they're still like stealth missions at their core, but she's not defenseless anymore like she used to be. So I was going to ask you about that, but sorry.
No, it's okay. Is she evading? She throwing some parries, or is it more like grounded and like she has to kind of think her way out of fights, is what I'm assuming.
She kind of, I don't know how much I can say about what she can
Is she
do.
throwing combos?
No.
Is she going to be on the next Marvel vs. Capcom?
No.
Okay.
No. It's not like that. It's still a stealth mission. She still like has to sneak up on people for the most part. But like before, if anybody saw you,
you
like she was dead and you had to start the mission over. And that's not the case anymore. So in that sense, I think that they are an improvement. Personally, I think it's an improvement over.
It's not as like punishing or insufferable that you die the moment you get caught. Yeah, that's fair. I think that's cool, man. Nice little improvement.
It is a nice improvement. So if you had to score it, what would you score it?
Yeah, definitely 9 out of 10.
Okay, yeah, me too.
If I'm rating it as just a Spider-Man game, let's say like give me the best Spider-Man game, I'm gonna say Spider-Man 2 is the best one. I would say that's a 10 out of 10. But as a video game, no, it's 9 out of 10. I mean, there's some goofy glitches people are seeing. Did you see Spider Cube yet? Anybody see Spider Cube?
Did you experience anything like that?
No, my experience has been great, but seeing, threads online have been amusing.
I did have the game freeze on me at one point.
Yeah. Super Rocker dealt with a freeze.
I sat down. I was walking as Peter Parker, and there was a bench, and it prompted me. It said like sit down. So I was like, okay, we'll just see what happens. So I sat down on this bench, and then it had another prompt, or actually no, I sat down, and Mary Jane walked over and sat down next to me, and then it gave me a prompt to talk to Mary Jane. It's like, okay, well, it'll be like a little side conversation here. It wasn't like a cinematic thing, but I thought, well, that'll be just fun to hear what they say. I like hearing what the little extra dialogue that they put into things is. So I hit X or cross, and then the prompt went away, but nothing happened. And I could still kind of move the camera, but I had no prompts, and I couldn't pause the game, and nothing was happening, nothing was playing. And after, I don't know, a minute or so, I was like, this is messed up. And so I actually had to go back to the home menu, close the game, and reopen the game. And then I went back to that spot and did it again, and it played at that time. So I don't know. It was just kind of a weird moment. But other than that, I did see one person who was scared. They were like crouched down as like a civilian, but they were like 12 feet up in the air, just floating in the air, crouched down in the middle of an area. But other than that, I haven't seen anything.
Oh, you know what?
Anything glitchy.
You're reminding me of 2. I had a quest glitch. I had to restart my checkpoint, and then that fixed it. But I got a guy who was like invisible playing basketball. I don't know if that was by design or not.
It was
that
invisible ninja from Metal Gear Solid come back to get you.
I only have one thing to say. Yuki rated the game 9 out of 10. Bo also said 9 out of 10. He rated Mario 9.5 out of 10. I'm just saying.
You noticed that.
No, yeah.
Listen, with that, I rest my case.
I don't doubt it, though. That's what I'm saying. You don't hear about these glitches on Mario.
Look, that might change when I finish both of them, but right now, like, they're both amazing. They're both really fun.
Oh,
but
I mean, Mario's better.
I think that
you're right.
I'm sorry.
I'm agreeing.
is just slightly more more fun to me
Absolutely.
than Spider-Man is.
If I could play it, I probably would say the same thing too. Absolutely.
When does that Nintendo Switch come in?
Before Mario RPG. I
Oh,
gotta play
okay,
Mario
okay.
RPG. That's
Oh
not
my
even a
goodness, dude.
debate. That's not even a question.
Are you gonna get it, Bo?
Super
Do you
Mario
know?
RPG?
Yeah.
I don't know yet. Maybe.
Maybe after you hear our opinion of it, then you'll be like, oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I guess I gotta get it.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, it's not, yeah. I love turn-based. I'm
Bro.
obsessed with it.
Oh my gosh, man. I am so ready to play an RPG game on stream, bro.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
It's
dude.
so much more chill. You can
Have
make
you-
decisions. You can talk. It's good.
This
know?
is totally not on the agenda of things to talk about. Have you played Sea of Stars? Either of you?
Oh
No.
dang it! I really wanted to play it
Me
because
too.
like I saw it come up and like on Game Pass, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this looks so good.
Yeah, it does.
But like, dude, I just haven't found the time.
Right, me either.
Oh, you mentioned this to me. Yeah.
I really wanted to play that. I kind of like
Have you played it?
I don't really stream. I did my first stream the other night.
Oh, dude,
I know you didn't say nothing, bro.
dude, I didn't even
you
get
didn't say
notification, bro.
nothing.
I didn't
I
get
You just
notification.
went live. Didn't want to say nothing.
No, I didn't say anything. It was
That's fine, that's
I was just testing the waters.
Testing
Okay.
the
And
water.
I had
How was
fun.
it?
I
Did you
might
like
I might like edit it down to just like the funnier moments and post that as a video. Nobody watched, not a single person. And that's
to be
fine though,
expected.
because I honestly didn't want anyone to watch because I didn't know how it was gonna go. So, but it was kind of fun. I enjoyed it. But I've been if I were gonna stream a whole game, I thought Sea of Stars would be like the perfect.
Yeah.
Looks like the perfect game to stream to me. So I might end up doing that at some point.
Is that another turn-based or how does that play? Is it an RPG? What is it?
It is an RPG.
Very nice.
But I can't remember if it's turn-based or not. I think it is.
I think it's turn-based.
Yeah.
I'm blanking out on it, and so much so that it actually kind of makes me want to look it up.
Oh, it's puzzle solving turn-based? Wait a minute.
Okay,
What?
that is why I wanted to play the game. Okay?
What?
Yeah, it looks
Listen,
really cool.
okay.
You talking about Tetris?
Listen, my
bro?
name is Falcon Tactics up in here.
I know.
I have tactics in my name because I love strategy games
There's
and I
no
love
way.
solving puzzles, despite
There's
me
no
sometimes
way.
being bad at them. Okay,
There's
so
no
I saw
way.
Sea of Stars and I was like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
I want to play that."
Yeah.
I don't know when, but I want to play it. Like,
Puzzle.
It's-
It's really
Anyway.
it's really pretty too. It's got that retro style, but it looks it looks really cool. Yeah.
yeah.
Right? You speaking my language.
Well, we'll wrap things up here. So, Yugi, where can we find you, buddy? What are you working on?
Okay, so you can find me on all socials with Yugi601 with an underscore next to it, or just Yugi601. As for what I'm working on, we're going through the playthrough, obviously, of Spider-Man 2. You can catch that throughout the week. We're gonna be doing very long streams of it. Just dropped the video of the first sequence, Sandman, of course, and yeah, just been playing that, enjoying that, and I would look forward to more Spider-Man content for sure.
Awesome. Falcon, what about you, bud?
Yeah, you guys can find me right here on the platform or on Twitter, on Instagram under Falcon Tactics. Yeah, currently on YouTube, I've just been playing Mario Wonders. So I mean, like, if you want some Wonder gameplay, I'm just saying you go check that out. It's good. And then I think the only other thing I'm working on right now, bro, is trying to get my community to stop bashing on Yugi because I challenged them to another Chaos Customs.
Yeah.
I didn't mean for it to go that far, but my community is all just like, "Oh yeah, Yugi, you're gonna lose," and I was like, "That is, guys. All I said was I was gonna win. You guys didn't have to make it that crazy." Oh my god.
Yeah, they
That's
get
pretty
heated,
much it,
man.
bro. Dude, they
But
do.
Fall Guys is like life or death to some of these people. Okay, it's
They-
like serious.
My community kind of scares me. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, I
it's
said
very scary.
one thing about a competition, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, let's fight." I'm like,
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm telling you, this
Fall Guys is
Fall
fun,
Guys
but
player.
I mean,
nah, hey, since I have
Let's
you
not
here,
take it
though,
too
Yuki, I'm
far.
just saying, bro. I'm just saying, okay,
they take it far.
pull
They
up,
take it
pull
far.
up.
Yeah.
well,
Anyways,
I appreciate you guys being on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you about video games. And I'm working on a review of this right here. I've had in the background all night.
I was noticing that.
This right here, this little guy right here plays N64, Dreamcast,
Say less.
Nintendo DS.
No
and
way.
I am really excited to do a review on it. So I'll be watching for
Bro.
that. And hey, Halloween night, I'm hoping to live stream Headbangers Rhythm Royale with you guys.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm
Let's
just
go
trying to work out how I'm gonna get 3 people onto my thumbnail and make it look good.
I got you.
Oh my gosh.
Well, this has been episode 5 of Bono's Gamers. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you on the flippity flip.